Vroom, vroom. Right, well this is a video that we've made up from bits really. I mean, again, a little bit of gallivanting about and a bit of the workshop, but more of the workshop than gallivanting about. But we had to put a bit in about the National Exhibition Centre because it is quite good. We've got this Formula Junior engine which has sort of fallen in my lap in a way. I bought the car and I put a different engine in anyway, you'll see. But it's very interesting and really I think a lot of our followers seem to understand all that, so they're undoubtedly going to give us a few pointers, which will be handy. And then the MGTD windscreen wipers, which again, if you ain't got an MGTD, it's probably boring to death. But there's a lot of people with MGTD, so you never know, that'd be good as well.
So Ivan, what are you doing?
Well, not a lot actually, because this bleeding thing don't work. I wish somebody would make a good one of them.
What is it?
Well, it's for grinding valves in. I mean, I ain't actually grinding the valve here, I was just testing to see. But what it is, this is a cylinder head from what I believe is a Formula Junior engine. And it's very cleverly designed, and the way the bloke's done that is very clever. Because if you remember when I was doing the Mini, we did a thing with me doing that, and I left it sharp on the top. Well, this bloke's obviously, well, not bloke. If it is a works car, it will be BMC. But I haven't worried about too much, just here. So as it sucks it in, if you look at that, it makes it go like that. And obviously, if you can get the thing to go like that, you can get more in there than going straight.
And what's the origin of this engine?
Well, it came with the Sebring Sprite.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't the original engine. But if you read the history of the Sebring Sprite, it says that the engine blew up, which was the original supercharged engine, and a friend of his worked at Ford's, and they had a BMC engine that they bought to look at, and he managed to get it and put it in the car. And it's got a lovely works type manifold with the proper number and everything. That's
okay.
That's a competition number with a 45 Weather, and it's got. What was wrong with it?
So these Webers and these manifolds were in the Sprite.
Yes.
This setup.
Yeah, but because it never had any of that originally, it had a supercharger, which is
right, which is what we've done as Shorrock supercharger.
I put it back to original as near as I can.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's that. But this engine, we started out briefly, and it was very, very noisy and smoky. And what had happened was, and this is another thing that I'm always saying, and I don't know whether people listen to me, but it had done a piston, and it's ruined the side of the block just there, in there.
Move your finger.
There's like let me get.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah, no, it's all right. I don't need a torch. Yeah, I can see that. So this is just a 950 block.
Well, yeah, it's a 950 block, but if it's a Formula Junior engine, they were special. Now, what happened? My brother-in-law raced a Turner, and it had his friend had a Sebring Sprite.
And how many years ago are we talking
We're
now?
talking 1963 or 2.
Okay.
Right. So what happened was his friend had a real Sebring Sprite that was raced by somebody quite famous, so I should know the name. But it had a 1000cc engine like this. And then what happened was, the next year in Formula Junior, they made them 1100cc, and they were also dry sump. So he managed to buy an engine and put it in his car. And the old engine that came out of the car, my brother-in-law put in his Turner.
Okay.
Which he did hill climbs and sprints with a lot.
Have you got a picture of that?
No.
Oh.
So anyway, what happened was, he sold the Turner and he took the Formula Junior engine out, and unfortunately, he left it in the garage stripped down like this, and it just went rotten rusty. So anyway, in the end I bought it off him. I didn't pay a lot of money for it, but with it came 2 proper Formula Junior pistons with Dykes rings. Top ring is a Dykes ring, and slightly domed. Well, you know, now they reckon have concave pistons. But anyway, so these pistons I've had since...
So one of them looks brand new.
Yeah, well, I'll clean that one.
Oh, okay.
They're both brand new. They've never been in the car. What happened was, he had a problem with the car and it did a piston or two pistons. So he bought a whole set, but he didn't put more in.
Oh, okay.
So with this engine that had been in the garage that had gone rusty, there were two brand spanking new pistons.
So you've had those for 60 odd years?
Yeah, right. So they've been
in your treasure?
Greenford, everywhere I've been, these have been moved.
And what's the moral of the story there?
Well, the moral of the story is, don't tidy up too much, because, you know, I could have thrown them away years ago. So anyway, so this engine, right, so we started it up and it was obviously desperate. So we took it to bits, and what had happened was, it had been assembled originally, and, you know, I mean, quite properly, with circlips, these things. In the old days, that was pretty standard, that. And then what happens is, if the gudgeon pin presses against them, it slowly works them round and round, and they come out.
Oh, and that's the damage to the piston.
And look, you can see that's damaged all the way up there, and this side as well. Look at the damage.
So that's scrap, is it?
That's scrap.
But you've kept it anyway.
But luckily, I've got two brand new ones, haven't I?
And how many pistons were damaged in this engine?
One.
Okay.
But I'll probably...
And are they exactly the same?
Exactly. Same part number, everything. Exactly the same. And because this engine has got these lovely, fully floating gudgeon pins, and they've all been polished and, you know, just
Where's
like...
the gudgeon pin?
In there. Oh, I haven't got one. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so that's the story. So when I took it to bits, I thought, hang on a minute, I think I've got a couple of pistons, and I went out in amongst the junk, and I found the two pistons. So I've got the pistons. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have that cylinder sleeved, but it's been sleeved before. You can see that mark.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's been sleeved. So anyway, so I spoke to the reboring people, and they're going to sleeve that for me. Then
and that'll get rid of that damage there.
That'll get rid of that damage. And then, instead of putting that in...
The circlip.
All of them will be changed. Look, you can see where that gudgeon pin has been polishing that circlip. Look. So, you know, it's only a matter of time.
So what will you use instead of circlips?
So we use one of them. So what I'll do is, I'll take the gudgeon pin out of the pistons.
Which we haven't got any gudgeon pins here.
We haven't got one out of anything. And what I'll do is...
Could you go and find a gudgeon pin?
Yeah, I'm sure we could find one. What I'll do, I'll take the gudgeon pin out there. You can see this. You might as well make a film of this because it's all part.
I'm filming it all. Do you need the vice?
No. See, now that was in there solid, but that little bit of warmth has warmed that up. So what you do, let me demonstrate it here. So that's the circlip, you see. Now look, you can see that it's polished. Look, see where it's actually polished it. So I would say that that was in that way round. And that has pushed against it, slowly turned it, and in the end the aluminium has given way, and that's where the damage is. Now what we do, this is like a modern now, you put a taper on there.
Okay.
And then you use a wire clip.
We had one a minute ago.
Yeah, you use
on the
a
end
wire
there.
clip, right? so that when that's in the hole, there's a taper on there that pushes that into the groove.
Yeah.
So if that is actually up against it, it's trying to push it into the groove.
Yeah.
So it don't come out.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, these engines, if they didn't do a high mileage, you know, a bit of racing and a couple of bits, it didn't matter. You could have probably have that in there. But the minute you start driving it any distance, you've got to have that system. And I'm always banging on about it, but that was the perfect demonstration of what actually happens.
Of why circlips aren't necessarily good.
Good, yeah. So,
Okay.
so obviously it's done the block, it's done the
So
piston.
the block we're going to get relined.
We're going to get a liner put in there, back to standards to fit that. When I send it off with the liner, I send the piston with it. You know that piston. When I send it off to be poured, I send this with it.
Yeah.
The thing is, nowadays, you know, these sort of racy type engines, they all have forged pistons and all that, you know, which is all very good. But I've got an early Lotus 7 which I'm going to rebuild, and I'm going to put this engine in it. So, you know, it ain't going to get driven ridiculous sort.
So you'll have your Lotus with your Coventry Climax.
That engine, and I've also got another one that's
Okay.
all in bits that I'm going to rebuild. Me and John, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that's that. So that's special. The conrods are special. The main bearings, I think, are special. Because if you look at that, see how that's wider there than there?
Yeah.
Right, well that is to make up for the special crank shaft which has got these bits here are thicker
Yeah.
than standard, so that's why that end of that bearing is slightly different. So that's probably going to be a drama getting the main bearings, but we'll do something. We'll modify something, we'll do something. The other thing with this crank is, look, it's got 8 holes holding the flywheel on.
Okay.
So that's special.
And what should it have otherwise?
4.
Oh, okay.
So that's a special bit. I reckon the block's special. You know, when they said in Formula Junior, they have to use a production block from a touring car.
Okay.
With a minimum, I think, of 1,000 in a year. But, obviously, BMC were in a position to say, well, right boys, you're going to put us in a racing engine, what do you want? You know, and they say, well, a little bit more thickness there and a little bit more thickness there, and they could do it.
And you think that, but that's only 950.
Yeah, it's only 950, but it could easily be a special little block.
Mm.
So in other words, we've got the polished conrods, we've got the dome pistons, we've got the 8 bolts holding the flywheel on. Oh, and this is special too, look. Normally on a BMC engine, that's much wider and it's got 2 rubber things in it, but you see, that's got a number, look. I've just found the original bit that's in a normal car. It's like that. And see how wide it is? Well, there's a piece of rubber in there. Look, it's broken, they usually are. Mm. See that piece of rubber? Well, that keeps the timing chain tensioned.
Okay, and that's the different one.
But that's a proper racing one.
Yeah, and what's that?
AEA 609.
What is it?
And it's the timing chain that drives the camshaft. So that's a special bit.
Yeah.
So that's it really. So, you know, and then it comes to the cylinder head. Well, it's got very strong springs and, you know, it's an old cylinder head. But, you know, I don't want to throw it away and I want to use it. So what I've done is I've made up these 2 valves like that, out of the junk. And what I've done is, I've...
Sorry, all this on here, is this all just... Oh, just bits of treasure you've been using?
No, well, what it is, I've got all this stuff and I've decided to get it all out, throw away the stuff that's old and worn out, and then I'll try and sort it out into some kind of sense, you know.
So this is just tidying up on here?
This here's got a face on it, obviously, which thing, and what I've done is I've just reduced the combustion chamber down, nothing worth mentioning, but what it's done in effect is it's thinned the valve seats down.
Yeah.
So instead of the valve seats being, look, if you look at that, see how flat that is and sunk in.
Yeah.
So I've thinned it down so that when
so
we...
that one's done.
So yeah, so when we grind the valve in, it's got a nice seat. And the other thing is, the valves are all quite good, but again, I've got a box full of valves, so I don't know what's in there, so I've got them all out and looked through. I've found 2 brand new, never been used, dead right valves for this cylinder block.
And they're exactly the same?
And they're exactly the same. So when I clean the old valves up, if they're tiny, then I'll put them in.
And what's in this piston's in this box?
They're ones that I hadn't noticed, and John said, have you noticed them ones in the box?
And they're old?
And they're old, they're salts.
Oh, okay.
So they're nothing to do with it. That is the tool I've been using to, you know, take a little bit off of there.
Yeah.
Now there was something else I just thought of.
So we get the block relined, and then what's next steps?
Right, well, you know, get some new bearings and start assembling it, but somewhere there is the lovely cam followers. I mean, rockers. What have I done with them? Oh, here they are. So, the next thing is, I took them to bits, and that's what they look like. Well, they've had a load of work done on them, so I don't know how they do them in the day, whether the apprentices did these. But the only other thing which was a bit funny, when I took it to bits, they've drilled that in at an angle which obviously would increase the ratio. But when they did it, they didn't make the top match the nut. So when I took it to bits, these were actually bent. This is another set. And also, it's got a little hole, and if you look just there, you can see where they've drilled a hole right into there to make sure the oil came out of there. So what I had to do is I put them in the grinder, and I ground that face off square to that. So when you tighten the nut up, it goes down on the face properly. I don't know how that was wrong, but anyway, I put
And are they
that
the
right.
little bits we took with us to Birmingham last weekend?
Yeah, we took that to Birmingham because I didn't know how rare that is, you know, whether it's in all the cars or whatever, because I've got another old set somewhere and they didn't have the hole in. But we didn't have any success at all, did we?
No, but you found some at home since.
Yeah, so since then I found another set of upright and I've got them. So they're going to work. And then that is the push rod. All I've done is clean that, so that's been modified there, and I think a little bit of modification there to lighten it. So, you know, it's a proper little racing engine.
And so the camshaft's okay?
Well, the camshaft, that is the thing. I've been reading David Vizard's book, so I got myself really confused. Camshafts to identify, I mean, this must be a special cam, because they wouldn't put an ordinary cam in. But in David Vizard's book, he says that it'll have a number stamped on it. Well, I've looked everywhere, and I can't find anything.
No.
But you see, really, to find out how good this cam is, I'm going to have to build the engine up sort of temporary, put a disc on it and see where it opens and where it closes on the exhaust and the inlet, and that'll tell me what it is. I mean, it could be a 544 cam, which was the early cam, which was a really good cam in my opinion. Or a little bit later, there's a 496 or something. But anyway, I hope this is a 544 because that would be just tickety-boo for this engine. So I've got to check that. But I've also got this cam.
And which cam came out of the engine?
That one.
Yeah.
But that's only got 3/8 wide load, whereas this has got a 1/2 inch wide load. And I can tell what this is because it's got 2 rings on it. But I don't think that's a particularly tweaky cam, but I don't know for sure. So when I build a cut engine up temporarily, I'll put a degree thing on it and a dial gauge, and then write down, you know, so many degrees before and close to so many after, and I'll be able to work out what that is. I'm very likely to put that in because it's original, lovely, you know, use that. The cam followers have been lightened, and my other Formula Junior engine was exactly the same. So you go in there with the lathe and lighten them.
What was your other Formula Junior engine in?
In my brother-in-law's Turner,
Oh, okay.
which came out with Seabrings Pride.
But that's what we're talking like.
These ones are the ones out of this engine,
Okay.
and they're very nice. And they've also got, see that little hole? Someone's ground asleep, and now my other Formula Junior engine was like that. See, that is a standard one with just a hole, and then that has had a grind there to let the oil out of there to run down onto there. As you can see, they're not very good. So I might have to get a set of cam fullers. The Miscaderian ones would be nice because they're really good, but I don't think they make them anymore. But we might be lucky.
Well, that's all good.
So it's quite a nice thing to and fall in your lap. And of course, the icing on the cake is that. I think that's going to G all.
What, I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's the sump. But I think that'll G up all the Series A BMC engine aficionados.
What's so good about it?
Well, let's see what happens. I won't say any more. We'll just see what they call feedback we get from our followers.
Okay, good.
Cast aluminium sump. Also, when you put the plate on there, it's got bolts that go in there. That is a fabulous bit.
Okay, good.
But
Well, that's excellent, Ivan. We've just done 20 minutes of you in the workshop. You're getting your work out.
Yeah. What it is, I've got to do it right on the edge because that bit there is higher than that bit there. So what I've got to do is I've got to have that running over the edge so that it rubs it off there.
Oh,
and
I
not,
see.
Because otherwise it'll be rubbing it at an angle. But there you are, look, it looks pretty good. And I've done the valve, I've done that bit, look. So all the valve seats are much narrower now and not masked.
And do you think this engine's like late 50s, early 60s?
Oh, I would say, what was it? I think, what did they start? 1962 or 59 or something like that. Yeah, this could be 59, but I don't know.
Okay.
But you know, it's going to be making something out of nothing, really. I don't want to spend a fortune, you know, but if we get that done and it's all standing there looking lovely and it's going to finish up in a nice little early Lotus 7, which I'm thinking of having. I've got the Dion tube and various bits, but I'm seriously thinking about making it like a little Club 11 because I've got the proper back axle and the drum brakes and, you know, make it like the real early car, which is what it is. It's number 30 odd.
Okay, great.
So my car is number 17, the other one, the blue one. But this car is 30 something. It's a good early car. But I think with this little engine in and drum brakes and done, you know, everybody, you know, like me, I mean, made my car because it was only, you know, it's something we needed to work on so much, we might as well make what we wanted, and it's got a climax and that. But I think a little ordinary one would be quite nice. That's what I think they're doing. This is my MGTD, which was restored by Parnelly Jones in 1982, so, you know, and it still looks like this. But anyway, the thing is, if you're interested in MGTDs, you probably would have noticed it, but I sorted the brakes out, sorted the jumpy clutch out, and sorted the oil leaks on the engine, so it's going lovely. So it's getting to the point now where there's not a lot to do. But anyway, the other day I thought, I'll get the wipers sorted out. Well, I spent the whole afternoon working with this, and it's all brand new. It's quite obvious that it's all been replaced, but it don't work. No matter what you do, it don't work. And this is the motor, which is in lovely condition. Took it all to pieces, cleaned
And that's
it up.
from the top of the windscreen.
Normally that's there. Inside, obviously, like that.
Yeah.
And it sort of goes, you know, it don't really go. So I thought to myself, well, you know, if I ever come to sell this, which is possible, you'd have to say to a bloke, well, it's a lovely car, the brakes are beautiful, the engine's lovely, it's the smoothest engine I've ever driven behind. But the wipers don't work. Well,
When you say they don't work, they go through the motions, but they don't do any good.
They don't do anything. They sort of lift off when they get to the end of the stroke, and you know, I really worked hard at it. I tried every sort of angle, and I couldn't get them to work properly. So anyway, when I did the Lotus 7, we fitted a kit from Car Solutions, and it works like a charm.
Car Builder Solutions.
Car Builder Solutions. And so I thought, well, that's it, that's what I'm going to do. But obviously, you have to mount the electric motor. And it's in here, and there it is. And luckily, on the MG, there was these two bolts. So I had to make that bracket up.
Which bracket?
There. That bracket there.
Yeah.
To face in the right direction, and then it goes across to this side, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bit difficult working it out, but it's pretty good. Luckily, you've got that lovely strong mounting plate. And obviously then you have to do this. This has to be, you know, bent up to go from the motor to the wheel box, and then
And
across.
where did... Oh, you've got a wire in the top of the windscreen from previously.
Yeah, well, that'll go. And then, of course, I'll have to fill the holes up in the windscreen and possibly do that as well.
Oh, okay.
You know, this bit here. But I thought we might be able to get our little trimmer friend organised on that. I mean, I like keeping cars original, but there's a few things that you have to deal with in this day and age, and that's stop lights, indicators, you know, because people following you, they don't even know what an old car is, you know. And you're going out and it's pouring with rain, you've got to see where you're going. And I think that is a good thing. And it worked like a charm on the Lotus, so I thought, well, let's do it again.
Okay.
And it wasn't fabulously expensive, it was 150 quid, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, less, I think.
Yeah. For that, the wheel boxes, haven't got the wipers yet, because I thought I'd get further into it. And
if you were to buy a new windscreen frame, that would have the holes in it anyway.
yes, well, what I thought I might do with that, there's two things I could do. We can make up little
Plugs.
stainless steel plugs, or I could take it off, if it's not too difficult, silver solder up, you know, clean the chrome off, silver solder the holes, and make it so that it never looked like it ever had any.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, you know, might be a way of going, but we'll see. But, you know, that's the only thing on the car that really don't work very well. I mean, it's got lovely hood and side screens, and I mean, look at all that. It's beautiful.
And do you think those wiper kits, they'd work on any car?
Well, I put them on the Lotus 7 and I put them on an MGTD. I mean, we ain't got these working yet, but you'll see them working. You know, I think it'd be good. You know, there's always little things that you have to do if you want to drive the cars.
Yeah.
It's all very well saying, oh, I only go out on nice days, but you know as well as I do, it can be sun shining in the morning and a hurricane in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I've done. So I'm sure there are people with MGTDs might have had the same problem as me. In fact, they might probably write in and go, oh, my wipers work perfectly, but I'll tell you what, they didn't work on my car.
Is that a lucky dip?
Is it on?
Yeah.
I've had to take this out so I can actually see to make the bracket to take the thing that's in there.
Oh, that's the glove box.
Yeah, which I'm putting back now.
Oh no, put this. So there's the thing, and it tracks up across there.
Yeah, it obviously goes across the car to the other wiper motor.
Okay.
But there's no linkages, it's absolutely direct.
Okay, and that's a more powerful motor than you had.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And it's 2 speeds, so you can have it going slow or fast.
Yeah.
And the glove compartment will also go back, so, you know, once the glove compartment's in, you'd have to lay on the floor to see it, so that's all good, isn't
Oh,
it?
good. And then you've put some little...
And then we filled those up with things, because in case anybody, you know, you might get somebody who doesn't want to go anywhere in the car, but wants it to look absolutely original.
Yeah.
So they've still got the holes to do it.
But you're going to have wipers that work.
And they'd be like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it sounds good to me.
You know, I mean, when you're going, you know, I believe in using these cars, and if you're going somewhere and it's pouring with rain, I mean, to be honest, they didn't even work. Because as they went along, they sort of lifted off the screen.
Oh, so they went through the motions, but didn't do any
with
good.
that old-fashioned motor, so they go, you know, like this sort of thing. So, you know, it wouldn't be very good. Perfectly fine if you're never going to go anywhere, but I mean, if you're actually going to go somewhere, you imagine when we were coming back from Italy, we had about a windscreen, terrible trouble.
So this car's pretty good now. Well, it's always been pretty good.
Well, it's almost there now.
And you said this car was done in the 1980s.
1982 by Parnelli Jones. And if you don't know who Parnelli Jones is, look on the internet, sprint car racing. Oh dear, I mean, he was a very serious bloke. That racing is very serious. I mean, you know, the fact he got through it is a miracle. And what happened was he started a restoration company, and the story goes that this was either the first or second car they did. So they were obviously wanting to show people what they could do. And I must say, everywhere you look, everywhere you look is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
Oh, and that's the Parnelli Jones Racing.
And that is the badge, yeah. But, you know, I mean, everywhere. They were obviously going for the concourse, look. It's got the kit, look, with the spare fan belt and a jack and points and plugs and loads of stuff in there. Knockout. And that is the smoothest engine I've ever sat behind.
Yeah.
So I don't know who balanced that, but Parnelli Jones had somebody could do that. No, it really is a super car, you know. I mean, when I bought it, I couldn't believe it. I saw it. I didn't want an MGTD, but when I saw it, I just couldn't believe how good it all was, you know. The chrome, the paint, everything. It's absolutely beautiful. As it happens, we've got a very appropriate day because it's absolutely pouring out there. Not that I'm going to go driving about, but anyway, I'm pretty confident now they're going to work nicely.
So this was your modification.
Yeah, switch it.
Do you want me to spray it and you switch them on?
Yeah. Only a little bit because we don't want to kill the place. Right, that's part. Just a couple of little dots. Right. On. Slow. Fast.
I give it another squirt.
Hard.
Oh, that would be all right, wouldn't it?
Well, at least you'd be able to see where you're going, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So that's that done. We've had to modify the hood slightly.
Yeah.
Because the material hung down and they were hitting the material, so that wasn't any good. So, but, I mean, that's another little job that we can do.
Good.
But it does mean that if you're out in the car and it's absolutely pouring down,
Like
I mean,
today.
I drive down the motorway and, you know, I mean, I really would drive it anywhere.
Okay, good.
And I want to drive it too, because I love this car. It's a smashing car.
Okay.
And, you know, you go on the internet and watch Parnelli Joe driving sprint cars and you realise, you know, a very serious bloke was involved in this car.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's
Very
good.
close to my heart, really. The Vintage Sports Car Club want my car on the stand.
Okay.
So I've arrived at last. And I thought, well, we won't go mad and clean it too much, but I thought just a little bit of a polish.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking of taking this off so I can polish that bit, but I can also polish up.
Oh, that's a Vintage and Sports Car Club badge. Let me get a bit of that.
That's my dad's one. You know, that's the real old-fashioned one. But I've also got my dad's badge that he made when they were discussing having a club for Sampsons.
Okay.
And my dad at work managed to make a badge. What was just a suggestion, really. And when they were talking about it, they were drawing pictures on an old programme, and it was 1950 Brands Hatch, which I went to with my dad and saw the 500s racing. That was probably going round
Yeah.
the Emerson, but anyway, I didn't know about it then. But, you know, really that set the tone, really, because all my life I just wanted to go and race around somewhere like Brands Hatch. But anyway, so that's it, so that's what I'm doing. But
Okay.
we are short of one cover for the oil breather.
Okay.
So John is machining one from the solid.
That would have been cast originally and then machined.
Okay, and that's what we're trying to replicate.
Yeah. And now we've got to that point so far.
Oh, wow.
So what I've done a rough template of the profile, which is like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just transferring that onto there like that.
Oh, I see. You get the shape.
Yeah, and chunking out.
And is this all the waste?
Yeah, so far.
Crikey.
It's probably
Oh,
not
that
going
looks good. That was absolute, just a piece, solid piece.
Yeah, that's going to be a little
How
bit
much does
heavier.
that weigh?
Quite a bit compared to that, but it's going to get lighter.
Yeah.
You know, the more we can get off it, the better. It's getting there.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be absolutely identical, does it?
No, roughly is good enough, you know. Hold that on there. Put the centre in. Stops it flying out, you know. You know, it's a little bit out, but it doesn't matter, you know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Wants a lot more for there, doesn't
So
it?
it kind of goes in there a bit.
Like it wants just a little bit of sharpening. Whenever you're on the lathe, you always want to make sure you've got nothing that can catch you It'll drag you in. You know, if this dug in now, all it's going to do is go like that. So you've got to be ever so careful. It's a shame, isn't it? But that is basically the tool that you would use.
So that's the tool for knurling.
But we can't get in there with that.
To try and get that effect.
Yeah.
And that doesn't fit.
No.
Here we are, National Exhibition Centre.
Thursday.
Usual drama. Millions of people trying to get in there. But anyway, so far we've managed very well. But luckily Timothy's done it before.
100 times.
It's all that driving round and round, I wouldn't know what to do. But unfortunately the noise is deafening. And Susie, you know, she's a bit of a perfectionist. She's going, oh, I can't hear. So I said, well, let's just play it and I'll talk over it and I'll try and sort of keep the gist as it is on the screen. But you'll have to forgive us if it's not. But I mean, at least you'll be able to hear me, whereas it's very difficult at the exhibition centre because we didn't have a microphone on and all that, you know, because we're a bit lax, really. Right, here we are at the National Exhibition Centre and I was showing some bloke the engine on the old Holland Scott. And here we are on the Bugatti stand, because Timothy took that red Bugatti because it's one of our customers. And here we are again, this is another bloke, he is on the Broccoli stand, on Julian's stand. We went to see Julian and it turns out he's a follower. So here we are now on the Lotus stand. Now this Lotus 11, I had a Lotus 11, I had a Series 1 Lotus 11. And it didn't have a chassis number, but it was one of the cars that obviously came out the back door, because everybody knew the car, there was nothing dodgy about the car whatsoever. But I supplied the absolute expert at Lotus with all the photographs of my car, and he never managed to find out which one it was. I sold the car, and guess what? The new bloke, they've started to find out all about it, and it might turn out to be the very first ever Lotus 11, but they didn't do it for me. But anyway, there's also this Lotus 6, which looked a really good car. And again, years and years ago, I had, when Timothy was about 15, I think, we swapped a load of Bugatti bits for a Lotus 6. Never finished it, but I've got pictures of Tim when he was about 15, welding up the holes in the chassis. Lotus 6, it was number 50, I think it was, and I sold it to Bill Friend, Roger's uncle, and they rebuilt it, and the car's, well, it's about, I've actually seen it all done. But, because John Watson's got a really, really famous car that won everything and did everything with magnesium wheels and, you know, it really is a good car. But anyway, so then we get on the vintage sports car stuff with this young kid called Ben. Now, they come to see me, they're Puma Ford fans, and they've got two cars, the son and the dad, and they're like brand new. And they're really into it. Anyway, they come to see me, and looking at all the old cars, the kid's now interested in old cars. He's been and got a job at the Vintage Sports Car Club, and he's managed to buy an unfinished project of a Austin Ulster, which looks a really good car. I think he's done a very nice deal, because it's got all the tweaky bits, you know, the front axle, it's got the 37 head, and I was talking to him about Metal Shaper Tom. Metal Shaper Tom has built this car, it really looks good, but he wants it to be accepted by the Vintage Sports Car Club, and it's got a Reliant engine. So anyway, he's got rid of that, because obviously they wouldn't accept that. And he's talking about getting an Austin 7 engine, and he's saying, oh, it runs away with the money, what with Phoenix cranks and various things. And I said to this young kid, well, when I was young, I had a car with an 1 1/8 crankshaft, and I broke it on the way back from Wales, having driven it flat out everywhere. And I put a later engine in, which had an 1 5/16 crank, and I never managed to break that, no matter how hard I tried. And when I was young, I tried very hard. So old Metal Shaper Tom, I'm saying to him, you know, you don't have to get carried away at a more or less standard engine. You'll have a lot of fun with, and you can put bigger valves in it if you want to, and you can lighten the flywheel, flatten the tappets, put a 37 head the Ricardo head on it, and they go ever so well. And a couple of carburetors, or one carburetor even. So I was telling young Ben all about that. So anyway, anybody got an Austin 7 engine, you know, like a Ruby engine or say under the bench, and you haven't used it for years, we've got to help Metal Shape at all, because he's a really good boy, and you know, he's made a lovely job of that car. He's got a lot of followers, and he's got a proper family and a job. He, you know, he's a very proper person, really. And I think if we could find him an engine a bit cheap, it'd be really good. And this young kid, he's a knockout, you know, I mean, he really is. And he's doing a fabulous job for the Vintage Sports Car Club. And he's got this car, which is really good. It's got all the bits, you know. And his dad helped him repaint it. But anyway, there we are. So there's the old Hall and Scott. A bit of Susie's article, which she wrote for the Peugeot Club. And they've extracted an interesting bit from it to explain what the Peugeot is. But it's really good. Loads of people came up. Now we're on Jaguars. Now, in 1963, I raced a Mark I Jaguar, and I worked at a London Sports Car Centre, and somebody had crashed it, and the HP company had snatched it back and brought it to the London Sports Car Centre. Anyway, Mr. Foster was a lovely bloke. He was the company, and I said, "Oh, I really like to buy that." "Oh, okay, Ivan, I'll mention it." So anyway, when the bloke came from the HP company, he said, "Oh, we've got a boy in the workshop, interested." Anyway, I bought it for 250 quid. Anyway, it turned out to be a very serious car, because it had been supplied new by TT Garages, which was Mike Hawthorne's establishment. And I took the chassis plate to the Jaguar Henleys or somewhere when I was ordering the bits. I thought, say, remembering it, you know. And the bloke went mad. He said, "Oh," he said, "you've got the high compression, you've got the intermediate ratio gearbox, oh, you've got the high geared steering." And this car had been supplied with everything the same as Mike Hawthorne's car that he got killed in, unfortunately. And another little funny thing that happened, it had this aluminium trumpet that came over the carburetors. And I remember it being on my car, but I didn't realise its significance. I took it off, and it was in the loft for years and years. And of course these cars have all got that, because that was a proper bit. And I remember I mentioned it to some bloke, and I said, "Oh, I had that." He went, "Oh, you haven't still got it, have you?" But I threw it away years ago. So that was my connection with that car. So that was very interesting. And the bloke who races that actual car is really quick, and he's always sideways, and the crowd absolutely love him. I like that. My car didn't have a C-type head, actually. It had a D-type head, because it had 2-inch inlet valves. I remember it well. And all the crank was polished, and the rods were polished, and it had 10-8-to-1 compression, which was high compression in them days. It was a very, very good car, but it had been pretty badly damaged, and the rear suspension had pulled out, and John Magtalo welded all that up for me, got underneath it and gas welded it all off. It was a good old thing, but you know, I was young, I was 23 years old, and I've got my girlfriend, and I didn't realise I should have stuck at it really, but there we are. And this is looking at a Austin English Sprite like ours, same colour as ours, and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, me and John, I said we couldn't do that because we ain't got the patience. I mean, you know, it's absolutely mint. It's got, the seats are all nice, but they're new ones, whereas our car's got original seats. And we haven't done the hood yet, that's the problem with that car. And then I think we briefly looked at the Bentleys, and then we looked at this thing that's supposed to be 1965, but there's no way that body shell's 1965. I'm sure that's a 1959 body shell. But if you were making up a car like that in the factory, you know, they could have used anything. Well, there's an old 59 body shell over there, why didn't you cut that up? But it's got hydroelastic suspension, obviously, which makes it later. But definitely the holes that take the windscreen and the rear screen are just holes. And obviously later on that is a pressed hole with a sort of shape. So I reckon that's a 59 shell. And there's lots of little bits on it that look like 59 to me. But anyway, it's quite interesting really. We started up our 59 Mini the other day, the tweaked up one, moved it, started up lovely. But we're going to have to do some more on that, really, because, you know, we were going to fit that original Speedwell head and see whether it goes better than my head. But when you see the Formula Junior bit that we've done, that's another head that I've seen, and that's got even more ideas in it, you know, mainly in the combustion chamber. But, you know, I explain all that so you'll see it, because I reckon that swirling inside the cylinder is very important. Now we're looking at a Bugatti, but I don't recognise the Bugattis now. I mean, at one time I know who owns it because I read it, but I would have recognised that car, said who owned it. But, you know, I haven't taken any interest. It's hard to say this, but I've been away from that for 25 years. Seems like 10 minutes. But that's what happens when you get old.
Anything else you want to say?
No, not really. It was very good going there, wasn't it? You know, but that noise, I mean, I'm sure we could have done something clever. There's a bloke who's done one about it. It lasts for 3 hours and he's a very knowledgeable bloke. I'll tell you what, it's really good. I was watching it, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, he was still going, so I think it must last about 2 or 3 hours. But it's well worth watching if you've got the strength.
Rather him than me.
He knows all about the cars. He really is a knowledgeable bloke. And that's it really, Susie, isn't it?
Yeah, very end of the video. At the end of the video.
At the end of the video, what you have to say, don't forget to subscribe and press the like button. I'll get it right one day.